Good morning. All right, guys, I'm just trying to get my, there we go. Getting the lighting set up. Hello, I'm excited to be doing this. And I will also give a heads up that my little one, Jack, is probably going to be coming down for his lunch in the next 15, 20 minutes or so. So we may have a special visitor come in and join us. Hey, oh my goodness. So good to have you joining. Y'all, I am excited for this program and for this live and this conversation today. Hey guys, so excited to see you coming in. Good morning. I see we've got, I've got a couple screens going here. Good. We've got Kayla, we've got Joey. Y'all, this is an important conversation today, and I'm sharing with you about a program that I am launching that kicks off next Monday called the 10K Club. And I'm going to share with you today about why I'm doing it. So kind of my heart and the big why and my own personal journey behind why I decided to launch this. And then I also want to answer any questions that you have. So definitely check out the podcast episode that dropped today on She Sells Radio, because I share a lot more of the backstory of my own personal journey and how this came about. Hey, Tanya, good morning. So check that out for more context, but this is a great time if you've been reading my post the past few days and you're considering if you want to join it or just have questions for me, like pop them in the chat. I'm here for you. I am here for you. So let's talk about why. Oh, one other quick thing, and then I'll talk about why I created it. If you have any women in your life who you think could benefit from this program, who are looking to make more money, learn how to sell with ease, grow their businesses, and do it in a way that feels easier than anything they've ever done, that also helps them really tap into a deeper level of purpose and fulfillment and joy in their lives, invite them to join you on this live. You know, it's about us uplifting and supporting and helping each other, because I have been at a place in my life where things were so hard for me and where growing my business and selling just was really, really challenging. And with what I've learned, it's transformed my life, and running and growing my business is so easy now. And I'm really committed to helping other women do the same thing. So invite your girlfriends. Oh, hey Lee, how are you? Good to see you. So invite your friends and we will kick off. So in terms of why I created this program, the 10K Club, my mission, so I'll tell you what it's about and then I'll tell you a little bit of my backstory. So my mission this year is to take 120 women under my wing and help them become six-figure earners. But here's the key. They're going to do it in a way that is natural to them, where they're not going into hustle and burnout and exhaustion and questioning themselves and questioning their instincts. The way that the women who come into this program do it, it's going to be by learning to trust themselves, by learning to trust their intuition, even if it's different from what everything they're reading in business books is telling them to do. It's going to be by tapping into a deeper level of creativity and personal power than they've ever experienced in their lives. Because when you tap into that, that's when everything changes. That is when everything changes for you. And it changed for me in my own life, and I'll share that with you too. Hey, we have Joe. Is it Josie? Am I saying that right? Joining. So good to have you. I'm answering questions on the 10K Club today, which kicks off next Monday. So, this program is really special and personal to me. I knew since the early part of my career that I wanted to make good money. And for me, the kind of the threshold of that in my mind was always six figures. It was like, when I can hit six figures, I'm going to have financial relaxation. Things are like, I'll be successful then. And so I went into corporate sales and did corporate advertising and marketing. And y'all, this will make me sound really old. I sold yellow pages for a hot minute. If we've got Joey Neal on here still, he probably knows that and is laughing at me. Yeah, so I did that, but I also sold some other really cool stuff. So I sold marketing and digital advertising for global brands and was a top producer doing that. And yeah, Tanya's laughing at me. Yeah, Tanya, you probably know that about me too. And I was successful in it. Like, I was always successful in sales and was always a top producer, but I killed myself doing it because I didn't trust myself. And I would have an instinct, like I would be like, I really just genuinely want to build relationships with people. I want to build a personal brand that attracts and draws in clients and makes the whole thing so much easier. But what I was hearing from my higher ups and from leadership was no, like make this many calls a day, do this much outreach, say this script exactly. And so the way that I felt like I felt like I had to become somebody other than who I was to be successful. And it cut off my creativity. It cut off I was always in anxiety about my client relationships, always worrying that they were going to fall through. Hey, Nakia, how are you? Good to see you. And I was literally like, I was killing myself over it to achieve this 6-figure income. And I did it, but my body would break out in hives. I would have panic attacks. And it was like, I thought that I couldn't be successful by just being myself because no one was telling me that. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of us learn that from childhood, right? And that's part of my story too, is learning not to trust myself and my instincts really early on. And I share more about that in the masterclass that I did last week, Your First 6 Figures, and I'll tell you guys how you can get connected with it, because that's actually how you apply for this program. But I also share about it in the podcast episode that came out today on She Sells Radio. So a lot of my own personal story growing up was that I disconnected from my instincts and from my emotions, because I sensed a lot of stuff going on in my household that no one was verbalizing, but I sensed a lot of anxiety and stress just between my parents, and I internalized that. I didn't know how to bring it up and talk about it, so I really cut off my connection from my intuition, from my instincts. I suppressed my voice, I stuffed, I went into an eating disorder for 17 years, and then that whole cycle really continued in corporate sales, where I really felt like I wasn't safe being myself. So I don't know if you guys can relate to that, or I know a lot of the women I've been talking to this past week say they've really felt like they can relate to that. So I'm just curious, feel free to, type in the chat if that's been your experience too. But I felt like it caged me a lot. And, after I left corporate, I went into sales coaching, and I ended up partnering with a big global firm that does that. And what I found was that a lot of what was being taught was very similar to what I had learned in corporate. And so I always felt this disconnect between how I personally felt like I wanted to sell and grow my business, and then what I was hearing from other people. And here's what I'll say too. It's not that approach doesn't work. Like the approach that was taught in corporate and that was taught by this sales coaching company, it definitely works. It's very masculine. So one of the things that I teach a lot is masculine versus feminine energy, and we all have both. But for many women in corporate and in sales, we've been taught to live almost entirely in our masculine. And so masculine is linear, it's follow the script, it's structure, it's no white space on your calendar. It's if you're not doing something right this minute, you're wasting time. And I always felt guilty about that. I don't know if you guys can relate to that. Hey, we've got Jennifer joining. Hey, Elizabeth, great to see you. It's fun to have some of the ladies of 10K Club in here with us as well. And so that's masculine energy, right? Feminine, though, is where so much of your power lies. And for so many of us, myself included, we've learned to cut it off over the years. So the feminine, whether you're a man or woman, you have feminine energy. We all have both. Feminine is about creativity. It's about being unreasonable, but in a really good way, where you say, I'm going to go from here to here, and I'm going to do it really fast because I'm trusting myself and my instincts that that's what I'm meant to do right now. It's the quantum leap. It's relational. It's more about the process. It's about enjoying the journey. The masculine is very outcome oriented. So we all have to have both. They're both important in business. When you think about your sales process, if you're just like willy-nilly, just doing this and that, and you don't really have any sort of structure to what you're doing, you may be building great relationships with people, but you're going to be dropping the ball and things are going to be slipping through the cracks. So having that structured sales process that allows you to guide someone through your process, that's very masculine. But then I always think about it like the masculine supports the feminine. And that's actually how it's designed in nature. So when you think about like a glass of water, right, the masculine would be the glass, and then the water is the feminine inside of it. So we want both. We have to have that structure and support to contain and to create a solid foundation for that feminine, which is more you showing up, being fully yourself on your social media, being fully yourself with your clients, being creative, doing things differently. And so for me, for many years, I was so afraid I had cut off that feminine instinct part of myself because it felt unsafe to me. And I thought it was weak. Like, being very honest, I thought it was weak. When I heard women talk about being feminine and being in their feminine energy, I would judge them. I don't know if you guys have ever, let me know in the comments if you've ever done that, or maybe you find yourself in that now. But what I didn't know was at the time I was just judging myself. And so it sent me down a long path of disconnection from my body and illness and bad relationships and just all the stuff that happens when you're not fully aligned and attuned with all of who you are, And so over the years, I have really, it's been a lot of things that have helped me, I would say, transform my relationship with my feminine and learn how to use it powerfully and learn that it is my actual superpower. And a lot of it has been really great coaching and mentoring from women who had what I wanted. I would see in them, like, they show up and they're unapologetic and they're fully themselves and they're beautiful in their own right and they make a heck of a lot of money and they just seem to have this, like, this thing that I wanted, right? This presence, this ease, this calm, this poise. And it seemed like money came to them so easily. And I was always like, how is this so easy for them? And I'm making it so hard over here. Like, I'm struggling. I'm hitting my financial goals every month, but it's hard. And I just thought that was how it had to be. And so, Gainate, how are you? I'm so glad you're here. Everything changes, though, when you make a decision that maybe there's another way. And that's what happened for me. I'm just going to check down here in the questions. So I finally made the decision that the results, like, I came to the awareness that the results in my life were because of the thoughts I was thinking. And if the results in my life weren't exactly where I wanted them to be, maybe thinking different thoughts would actually create a better outcome for me. Can you guys relate to that? Mikia is saying, I never understood feminine energy until recently. Yeah. And Mikia, with what you do too, and I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly, but with what you do too, I love it because it's like the powerful feminine, right? It's you owning and showing up unapologetically, like just that fierceness and that sensuality. And I love that. And we've been told to be so afraid of that in business, right? That we can't be safe with that. And I work with a lot of women who felt like they had to, like, squelch kind of how they looked and play themselves down because they didn't want anyone to think that they got where they were because of how they looked, right? And so that's, I can relate to that. Like, I know a lot of women can relate to that. I told you Jack would probably join in for the live, so here he is. He is my sweetheart. I love it when he joins. So what was I saying? We're talking about the feminine energy. Yes, when you make a decision. So I made the decision to get open-minded. I tell you what, I'm gonna move. Okay, you guys are gonna get a house tour while we do this. So do we wanna see Jack? Adrian, do you mind if I let them see Jack really quick? Do you guys wanna see Jack? Hey buddy, you wanna say hi? You wanna say hi? He's like, oh my gosh, feed me. I love you, buddy. Okay, anyway, when you make the decision that maybe there's a better and different way to do it, everything changes for you. I'm just gonna get set up in our bedroom here. And that's what I did. And here's what I found is when you show up as all of you, and when you stop being afraid of the parts of you that have felt unsafe, which is for most of us, especially for a lot of women, it is our femininity, that is when everything becomes easy for you. And when I learned to embrace all of myself and show up unapologetically as all of myself, I ended up making in 2 days what it used to take me 6 months to make. And it was the easiest money I've ever made. It was so easy and it was pleasurable because I trusted my instincts. And they were not instincts that I was reading in a business book. They were not instincts that I had learned in my corporate sales training. They were my own. I learned how to reconnect with my body and how to trust my instincts that I should reach out to that potential client right now, or I should do that social media post, or I should launch that program that I had no idea how I was going to launch it and how I was going to do it. But I felt just this, it was like divine downloads dropping in all day long. And that's how I operate now. And it's so easy. Like it's fun and I feel joyful and I love the process of what I do now. And that's really what this program is about. Oh yeah, Caitlin, I'm glad you like Jack. He will probably be joining a lot of our 10K club calls. And that's what this program is about, because as a woman, you have been taught a lot of lies about how to be successful in this world. And what I'm here to tell you today is that whether you take this program with me or not, I want you to know the way for you to be successful and achieve your goals is by trusting yourself and bringing all of you to the table, and to stop apologizing for the parts of you that somebody else told you were less than, that somebody else told you were not capable, that somebody else told you to suppress. It is time to let it out. It is time to let it out. That is how you are going to be not only financially successful and way more successful than you've ever been in your life in that realm, but you're actually going to be happy. That's how you're going to be happy in this world. And I didn't ever think I could possibly be really happy and really wealthy and have everything I wanted, because to be honest, for a long time, I didn't think I was worthy. I did not think I was worthy of it. And I've talked with a lot of women recently who have experienced the same thing, because they were told by parents or family that they didn't have what it takes or they weren't good enough. And it breaks my heart. But how many of us have felt that way, right? And I felt that way for a long time, even if it's subliminal stuff from society. I know for me, I used to compare myself for years to women in magazines and growing up, like in my, it was like, you know, when I'm like 8, 9, 10, and then beyond, I would always compare myself, and I was never as skinny as them. And I was never, my skin had acne. I was never as flawless as them. And I learned that I was less than. And I have unlearned that. And I feel so worthy now. And it's not in an egotistical way. It's in a way that we are all worthy just by the very nature that we're here. You are worthy of having what you desire and what you want. And when you can really own that and learn how to get back in touch with your instincts, your intuition, they will take you easily and quickly to exactly where you want to go. Hey, Melissa. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you're here. Lee's saying, I like the idea of a sales track versus sales scripts. Yes. And you're so good at that too, Lee, which I appreciate, because we want to have, I like thinking of in the sales world, like tracks, kind of like you want to have guardrails. You want to have talking points, right? Because it keeps you from going too far off the rails one way or another. And that way you're not getting lost without any sort of structure, but it also gives you the freedom and creativity to be present with somebody. You know, I've shared this story before, and it's one of my more embarrassing stories, but it happened and it showed me how important this is. I used to do a lot of my business from stages, and I would go, and this was like pre-COVID, you know, I would go and I would speak at different conferences, and I did a lot of work in the financial services world. And I remember I was speaking at this conference for like 300 financial advisors, and usually, like when I get up and speak, I end up getting a lot of clients on the back end, because just the right people connect with my energy, and it's easy. And so I had a sales call with this guy who had seen me speak afterwards, and he wanted to coach. And I had the corporate, the company I was working with at the time had been really drilling into us, like, just follow the script, follow the script, follow the script, don't reinvent the wheel, follow this. And they had the script written out verbatim of what you say on a sales call. And so that's what I did. And I remember while I was talking with him, it felt unnatural and it felt kind of clunky. And I wasn't actually really present with him, because I was so focused on trying to follow the script and see, okay, what's the next, like, he's going to give this objection. So what's my answer to this objection? And we got to the close, and he said, could you please stop reading the script and just talk to me like a real person? And that crushed me. I felt so embarrassed in that moment. And people can tell when you're not really present with them. And that's one of the things, this goes for men and women. You know, I work behind the scenes actually with a lot of men, and I love my men too, even though this program is for women. I adore and love working with the men I do, but your presence is your superpower. Just being able to be present with someone and actually hear what they're saying and love them. And this is, a small thing that you can do, but it's powerful, and it's not a manipulative thing, but it helps you create more of an emotional connection with the person you're with the potential client you're talking with is, when you're on Zoom or you're in a face-to-face meeting, just kind of from your heart to that person's heart, just give them compliments. Like, you're so capable. You can do this. You're so powerful. You're so smart. And I'll do that. And you don't say it out loud, that, although you can compliment people out loud too, but you don't need to say it out loud, but just say it from your heart to their heart, and they feel it. And again, it's not manipulative, but it's just genuinely to create that, like, that presence with that person and to encourage them and love on them. So again, everything changed for me when I learned how to run my business this way, when I got back in touch with all of me, when I learned how powerful my feminine energy is in addition to my masculine. Everything transformed. Money making became so easy, and the process became so enjoyable. It's so much fun. So that's what this program is all about. And so if you're watching this and you're interested in the program, or you have a girlfriend who's interested in the program, I'll give you a quick high level. And then please, if you have questions, pop them in the chat. I'm here to answer whatever questions you have. So the program is a 90-day program, and it's called the 10K Club. And what I'm doing with this first group is I'm taking up to 20 women in this first group, and I'm taking you under my wing. And the name 10K Club, you can kind of guess what the target is that we're going for. A lot of my women want to hit 6 figures this year. And so that's not everybody's goal, but that's a lot of people's goals. And so the intention that we're holding is hitting a 10K month in 90 days or less, doing it in a way that is enjoyable and pleasurable and fun, and that helps you unleash this level of personal power that you've never experienced before. And it's going to dazzle you and blow you away with what starts to happen in your life when you do this. It absolutely will. And you will wonder, why the heck did I not live like this before? It'll transform your life. With that said, so these are some of the questions I've been getting just through email and from women I've been talking to about it. What if you're not going for a 10K month? That's totally fine. One of the women in the program has done close to $1 million in revenue before, and she's really looking to structure her sales process. I've got other women in the program who, 10K may be a big stretch for them because they're either looking to launch a new business, or they, they're just getting started out. And for them, it's more about uncovering purpose and their next level and what the next step is for them. And so 10K is it's a number, but it's not the number that everyone is looking to hit. I am really good at helping people and women get to 6 figures fast. Like, that's one of my specialties, just because I know what it takes, and I also know how to do it in a way that I've done it in a way that includes burnout, and I'm not available for that. And I now teach my women how to do it in a way where there's no burnout. So that's kind of what we're going for in the program. But if that's not your goal, then I would say send me a DM and let's talk and see if it feels like it's a fit. In terms of how to apply, there's a process for it. So the program kicks off on Monday. So this Friday is when enrollment period ends. So if you're interested, hop to it, my friend, hop to it. Here's how it works. So what I need you to do is go to ElyseArcher.com/10K Club. And it's a 3-step process to apply. The first step is I need you to watch the masterclass I did last week called Your First 6 Figures. It is a buy-in for the masterclass. It's $85. It's a money-back guarantee, though, so there's no risk. Here's what I can tell you from the women who joined that. And if we've got any women live now who were in there, I'd love just if you want to share in the comments. But the feedback that I got from that class was, I had so many women write me and talk to me afterwards and just say it was like their lives were transformed because they suddenly saw what was possible for them. Because I share a lot of my own story of suppressing my instincts and my eating disorder and my injured relationship with my feminine, and how that transformed in my life. And so I think just the process, you have to watch that class first, because I need you to, you're going to love it. I say this genuinely. I think it's going to change your life, and I think it's going to be really transformational. It's a money back guarantee, though. So there's no risk. Hi. Oh, thank you, Lee and Jill. So good to see you. Oh my gosh. I love it. So watch that class. And then in that class as well, I do a deeper dive into what's happening with the program. So I need you to watch that first so you can get a sense of me, how I work, what it's like to work with me as a mentor, so you can see if you think it's a good fit or not. When you purchase the class, you're going to get a link down below for where you can book a call with me. Now, here's what I will say. Like I said, the cart closes on Friday. So if you're interested in this, do it today. Watch the class today. Go ahead and get it and watch it. I've got time this afternoon and I've got time tomorrow blocked out for calls. And then after that, I'm with clients almost all this week. So purchase the class, watch it. If you have any issues at all, send me a DM and I'll be happy to talk. But that's how you apply. And then we'll hop on a quick call and I'll answer any questions and we can see if it's a good fit for you. I will also say this is the lowest investment it's ever going to be for the next cohort. My plan is to run this 4 times this year. For the next group that goes through, it's going to be almost double. So if you are looking to be mentored by me, if you're looking to learn how to make more money quickly in a way that feels good and is aligned with your natural superpowers, like it's going to be perfect for you. Makia, grab that masterclass. And you can even, so if you just want to get a direct link to the masterclass, it's ElyseArcher.com/6figures. And that'll take you there. When you purchase it, you'll see on the replay page a link to book a call with me. So go ahead and do that. There was another question. Okay. I had my notes when I was doing this in my office, and now that I'm hiding in my bedroom, I don't have my notes. So I'm doing this all from memory. And my arm is also dying from holding this phone up. But I work for Jack now. When he's eating in the kitchen, I get out of my office. So what was here it is. The thing that I'm really excited about with this program, and I just wanted to make this so easy for the women who do it. So for a lot of the women who are going into the program, just some of the common themes that I've found, a lot of them are going for that 10K month. And a lot of them are currently struggling with self-confidence issues, with how to confidently market and promote themselves. Maybe they're selling to someone who's in a higher position than them, or they don't fully trust themselves yet, and they're struggling with that. And so one of the things that I'm doing to really help support the people who go through this first group is I'm giving access to this program for when I run it the rest of the year. I'm giving them access to this program for up to 12 months, for as long as they need it, until they hit that 10K month. And my intention is for everyone who's joining, if they put in the work and show up and do what I teach them, that they're going to be able to hit that 10K month. But if for some reason it takes a little bit longer for you, or you've got more stuff you're working through, as long as you're showing up and putting in the work, you'll be able to join future cohorts of the program at no charge. My commitment is I'm sticking with you until you get this. And I'm excited about it because I've cleared my plate. I've said no to so many things in the past few weeks that would have been exciting for me otherwise, and opportunities to go work with people on lakefront homes and take on new high-level clients, because I am trusting myself that this is what I'm meant to do right now. So I'm creating the space to be available to really take these women under my wing and mentor them and be there for them and available for them to create that type of quantum leap in their life that I've experienced and that they're looking for too. So I think that was it in terms of common questions. Do you all have any questions? For those of you who are here live, I'm so glad you're here. Do you have any questions on the program? Happy to answer them. So again, the way that you apply for the program is you go to ElyseArcher.com/10K club, and there's instructions there on how to do it. You'll get your masterclass, you'll watch it, you'll see if it feels like the right fit for you. Apply for a call with me from there if it does. And like I said, I'm taking calls today and tomorrow. I've got a good chunk of time carved out tomorrow for calls, which I'm available. And then after that, I'm doing a lot of work with clients on Thursday and Friday, but the enrollment ends on Friday. So get in, buy the masterclass today, watch it. Again, there's a money back guarantee on that, so there's no risk. And then book your call from there either today or tomorrow. Oh my goodness, Pinky, good to see you. Girl, you need to go check out. I would love to have you in this program if you're interested. ElyseArcher.com/10K club. You can go check it out. Do you guys have any other questions? Is there anyone who, oh, perfect, Melissa. Yes, I would love that. Check it out. Gosh, this would be amazing. I mean, you and I have so much, we have so much in common, my friend, and would certainly love to support you if this feels right for you too. All right, does anybody else have any other questions on this? Hey girl, oh my gosh, I love us. We've got an international audience in here today. Pinky's coming in from Bermuda. I love it. I love it. And yeah, definitely, like I said, check out the podcast episode that drops today. She Sells Radio. It'll talk more about it. But I think the fastest path is just get that masterclass, ElyseArcher.com/10K club, and take the steps from there. So, all right, my loves, if no one else has any other questions, I am available by DM. Shoot me a DM. Let me know what questions you have, how I can help. And just so excited I know the perfect group of women are going to be in there, and I'm so excited to help serve and mentor them. And if it feels like it's you and this message has resonated with you, take the next. Oh, here's one thing. Okay, I just remembered. This is what happens when I don't do my notes. One quick thing, and then I'm going to go. This was a concern that came up a lot from the women who were live in the masterclass last week. What if they said they were afraid to go for what they wanted, because what if they go for it and it doesn't happen for them? Can anybody let me know if you're here, and let me know in the comments if that is a fear of yours too. Like, what if I actually really go for it and it doesn't happen for me? And I think a lot of times, I know in my own life, I've held myself back from taking action on that, because it's almost like living in this fantasy world that, well, if I really wanted to do it, I would just do it. But not actually going for it. I was playing small and very safe. And it was like, yeah, it was fantasy land. Here's what I will say about going for what scares you. And this applies to this and anything else in your life that you're afraid of. When you tap in and your intuition is telling you to go for something, it usually will not be logical. For me this year, it involved investing a lot of money in a coach that I hadn't even followed that long. I wasn't like a super fan of, but I knew that I needed to hire this person as a coach. And so I trusted that, and I did. And it has been the most incredible up level in my life in like 6 weeks because of that. But it's usually not logical. So your logical brain will try to tell you, oh, that thing your intuition is telling to do you in relation to the thing you're scared of, like, don't do it. You're going to get, people are going to shame you. You're going to be canceled, right? Like, you're going to put yourself out there, whatever the fear is. Here's what I've learned, though, about going for what scares us and taking the next step. What I would equate it to, and I share this in the masterclass, is it's like, you're going down a dark hallway and you see a door at the end of the hallway, and you see that it's illuminated, like there's light inside the room. So you see kind of this shadow, this light around the door frame, and you're just walking towards it. And you're taking the next step and the next step, and everything is so dark, but you just see this kind of light around the door frame. And as you're taking these steps one by one, you suddenly notice that there's this door on your left, and it's wide open, and there's this massive party in there, and it is everything that you've ever wanted and more. And you're like, oh my gosh, how was this here the whole time? I didn't know that. But the only way that you found it was because you took the steps toward the thing that scared you. And so when we go for what we want, sometimes you'll get exactly that. And when that happens, it's because that's actually what was meant for you. Your intuition was intact, and you were going for this thing, and that was actually exactly what was meant to happen for you right now. But when you have the belief system, and I do, that everything is always working for you, when you go for that thing that you want, sometimes you get something else, but it's always better than what you thought it was. And I shared this story on the masterclass and on Instagram a while back too. And this is what helps me do things I'm scared of. I think back to a time in my life where I was really scared, and I was in a really bad situation, just a dark place. And it was in my late 20s, and I was married to someone who was struggling with a lot of addiction issues, and was just in a lot of ways not in a healthy place. And I was the same, but in a different way. But I wasn't in a good place either. And I remember I knew I needed to get a divorce. I knew it. I knew I shouldn't have married him in the first place, but I did. And as I was being a people pleaser, I was so afraid of the shame, though, of being in my 20s and being divorced. I had this big story about how that was going to be, I was going to be ridiculed. I was going to be like used goods, all the judgments that you can have. And so I was so scared to do it. But I reached a point where I was like, it can't get any worse than this. It can't get any worse than this. I am willing to take the risk of the judgment, of the ridicule, of the shame, of the label, of the stigma. I'm willing to take that risk to get out of this. I'm going to do that for myself. And so I did. And 6 months from the day that happened, 6 months from the day, I met Jason, who, my soulmate, like the most amazing man I've ever met. He's now my husband, and we have Jack as our son. And if I hadn't, this makes me cry every time I think about it, but if I hadn't done that thing I was scared of, I wouldn't have my son and I wouldn't have my husband. And so think about in your own life, like, what's your version of that, and let that support you through making scary decisions. There's always something better waiting on the other side of that thing that you're scared of and that you don't want to do. And you kind of just have to do it. Like, you kind of just have to do it. But if you need some emotional stamina to push you through and to help you, make that leap, then think back to a time in your life that you were afraid of doing something, but you did it. And what good came on the other side. That maybe, like, when I got my divorce, I didn't know that Jason was waiting on the other side. I didn't know that Jack, our son, was waiting on the other side. I just knew I wasn't down for that situation anymore. And the pain of the ridicule and the stigma couldn't be any worse than the pain of where I was. But there was the most amazing gift waiting on the other side, because I followed my intuition and I trusted myself and I put myself before the opinions of others. And I cared more about being true to me than anyone else. And everything good in your life happens when you allow yourself to do that and you stop looking outside for approval. Okay? I'm living, breathing proof of that. So let that carry you. Oh, thank you for the hearts. Thank you for the hearts. I love you all. I'm so glad you're here. DM me with questions. Go get that masterclass, ElyseArcher.com/10K club. You can apply for a 10K club. Again, I've got time this afternoon and tomorrow for calls, and invite your girlfriends who you think it could benefit. So much love to each and every one of you today. All right, y'all. I'll see you soon. Thank you so much for joining.